Hello. Uh, Today we're gonna be beating
Are you prepared?
Chaos
We'll
Trial
see.
75 on Chaos
Go
level
on,
75,
Thingmaker.
obviously. Um,
Well, if it isn't my favorite
and
killer
I'll
fungus.
just be walking through all of this, for anyone that needs some help. I'll make a separate video, describing my build and how it works, but it's basically just a crit build.
All provide.
So, yeah. I always like to focus Dragonlord statues whenever you get those objectives really hard, because once all the enemies spawn, it starts to become really annoying, and sometimes you can accidentally kill all the enemies before the Dragonlord statues are dead, which is frustrating. So I am a Spore Warden and a Blight Caller, basically a Shroom rank owl. And I'm doing this kind of blast cannon build, if you can't tell by me being at 4 health already. So basically, the way that this is going to work is that getting downed is fine, and that's actually usually the case. This game's very generous when it comes to getting downs, especially if you're a Spore Warden, because your mushroom can just get you right back up. And since Spore Warden's for some reason a crit class and not really like a companion class, you can wipe enemies pretty easily. Holy shit. Yeah. So I'll explain some of my weapon choices here in a second, but pretty simple. Poison is probably the best element, maybe, in the game. I used to think it was really shit. I mean, I think electricity is probably the worst one, but yeah, Frost is up there. But poison's probably just the best one because very few enemies have a resistance to poison, and it gives you really good damage over time. A lot of the best legendary weapons are poison. So, yeah, and being a Spore Warden, you can, or being a Blight Caller, you can boost your poison damage. Yeah, so I picked up the critical damage there, because, you know, it's a crit build. I always go for, there are, like, 6 levels in a boss fight in this game, or in this mode. So, okay, so here's one of the few enemies that avoid the poison.
Don't let him grab.
And the reason you do that is because it's toxic. Yeah, sorry, gotta focus here. It's a little frightening. I got some really high movement speed, obviously, trying to be evasive. So here, I'll go over the weapons I'm using. This one, I forget what it's called. Let's see here. It's called Hawkins Wrath, I think, or maybe Wrath of Release, I don't really know. And it's really good at just wiping out tons of enemies at once, because the way it works is that you shoot an enemy with a sticky mode and it launches out a bunch of dragons and, you know, fucks them up. This is a black powder pistol, I forget what it's called. Masterwork Handbow of the Engineer. I think it's just called the Masterwork Handbow. And the reason it's useful is because enemies that are stationary, you can basically just shred them, as long as they have a good and easy to hit crit spot. Which a lot of bosses don't have, but some, like the Wastard, does have a pretty easy crit spot, and it looks very well on him. And he's probably the hardest boss in this game, or at this mode. Same thing goes for Dragonlord. Dragonlord's got a pretty easy crit spot. This sniper is basically just hard damage. I've had it where it just completely annihilates bosses very, very quickly. So yeah, it's pretty useful. And then this laser gun, it's just got really good DPS. It's good for killing small guys, especially because it's like reliable. You know, it's when you're able to hit your shots always. This gun isn't very good. Like if you're fighting a giant troll or some shit, it's not the best. Just checking around for any buffs I could use. Let's see. Spectral Vengeance is easy. It's a very easy thing to deal with, and it gives you a lot of gems. Yeah. Sorry. Anyways, so enemies that are really hard to track sometimes, like Iclopsi, yeah, or some of the coiled, or the buff buddies and bullwhip buddies, or just other floating enemies. A lot of floating enemies are pretty hard to hit sometimes. So when it comes to them, this gun is really fucking strong. It's also good at taking out those little gross things. I don't know what they're called. But they spawn out of like loops or whatever the fuck. And they can be kind of annoying. Yeah. Okay, so that's basically that. I'm using Buffmeister because it's probably the best spell in the game. I mean, I guess it depends on how you're playing it. See here, I don't know why I pulled this out to kill this troll. I mean, it did it, but it can do really decent damage when you have the Buffmeister equipped, because Buffmeister adds damage to every hit. But otherwise, not the greatest. Yeah, so Buffmeister, very good. It's got a short cooldown. It makes you very fast, makes you do a lot of damage.
It's your funeral.
Yeah. Okay, so we're moving on to the halfway point. So I would call this the third level. And yeah, basically you just kill some enemies and the boss comes out and kill the boss. It's very easy. It's not a hard boss. It's one of those mini bosses that you just spawn anywhere. Well, anywhere, like usually quest specific. That Freezicles, the Frost Skeleton, the Tooth Fairy, etc., 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 etc.
What am I feeding you? Am I supposed to be feeding you?
Yeah, okay. What else to talk about? Typically, this mode isn't actually particularly that hard. You know, when I was around level 30, it was probably the hardest to win. But once you reach Ascended Gear and you get to past, like, probably the 50, maybe 30, the health increases and damage increases don't really matter that much. Also because once you hit level 50, you have to beat every single level instead of gaining 5 levels at a time. Which is really frustrating. It's really stupid, and it's such a time sink, but you know, whatever. I don't really mind, I guess. Yeah. Once you're in the later game, you really don't have to worry about ammo very much, unless you're using something that just sucks ammo. Like that one shotgun that shoots like arrows up in the sky or whatever. Sucks ammo. Basically it's like 6 ammo per shot, and shotguns don't really have that much ammo. Never send a corpse to do a killing job. Yeah, but especially as Spore Warden, you regen ammo over time, so ammo just does not matter in the long run. Besides magazine size, but Spore Warden also gets, I think, a bonus to magazine size, so yeah. Also going to be looking at the legendaries when they drop, because at a certain point, nothing's really worth grabbing except for legendaries. Okay, Bulwark Buddies is like not particularly hard, but this one is literally just a buff, so I'm just gonna grab that. It just makes it so you can melee non-boss enemies at 3% health, and so there's no downside. It's, yeah, it's free. Free 30% bonus. Okay, looks like we're looking at some more trolls, or just trolls in general. Doing a fire sprite. Fire sprite's pretty easy bonus objective. It's just a, it's kind of like the times limit. The time limit one, except I'd argue it's a lot easier just because, the time limit one depends sort of RNG-wise, but for this one, not really that much. As long as you can kill the enemies in like a decent pace, you can usually take care of them. Fortunately for me, so here's the thing about being Spore Warden. You're very unlikely to be aggroed. Your Shroom takes most of the hits. Just fortunate. Okay, here we go. Oh, there's a bonus skull. You shoot those guys, they go into a little machine, and then you hit the machine, and you get free stuff. Oh shit, I was not paying attention. Whoops. Now keeping in mind, secondary objectives are just particularly good for getting more buffs. I don't really, as of recently, with already having a really good build, I don't really play to get more draws at the end. Shit. Yeah, see, this is that gun that just kills a random enemy when it gets back up. That's why it's so fucking overpowered. Yeah, but I don't really play towards getting more draws at the end. I just kind of play so that I can win. Of course, you know, there's something to be said about just like I do build towards getting more draws if I'm playing like an extended run or something, but when I'm doing these ones where you're just raising your level, it's you know, it's just easier. The only time I would even play an extended run was when the last serve was at the end and I didn't have enough DPS to actually kill him because he heals himself at a very frustrating rate. Okay. Time to not fuck up this Fire Wisp. This build has one drawback, which is that it doesn't deal with bone crabs very easily. Bone crabs are very tanky. Yeah, they have so much health, and because this is a crit build, crabs in general aren't the best to fight. Sharks also not the best to fight. Things that just have very hard to hit crit spots in general. Ah, Jesus. And that goes for some bosses that don't have crit spots at all, which is a stupid design, but I also sort of get it. Like, that one really big guy who has 3 phases, I totally forget his name, it's like Tikal or something. It's not bad. But, you know, it's something like that. And, yeah, he's like very easy to kill. Or he's not easy to kill. He's probably like the second, maybe third hardest boss I would say in order, like Laster, Dragon Lord, and then although Dragon Lord's not that hard. Anyways, back on subjects. These lists. No, I just won anyways. Yeah, what else? Yeah, whenever I'm building to a victory, I usually just try to go dominantly in the first half. I always go Dragon Lord, like summon, whatever you fucking call it. Debuffs, basically. I always go for the debuff route to get the more crystals, and then in the second half, which is after the middle part, I always go for
I could get used to it.
butts down and buffs. Which, for the most part, are good. One thing that I've done to deal with Dogfish is that I'm running ring that makes it so I get 80% increase damage to Dogfish. Just completely wipes them out. Except for Titan too, but they're already just a fucking hassle, and they're always underground for some reason. This is fine, this is fine. Uh-oh, okay, I died. That's okay. This mode's forgiving enough, I suppose. Because you get 3 lives. That sucks. Not exactly a good way to start a series, but what are you gonna do? Sometimes it happens and you just gotta keep playing. Oh my god. Don't get me started on like where the projectiles work in this game with enemies. It's really interesting because, I mean, I don't know if I'd say it's well done, but it's like they read your movement pretty well. I mean, they're AI, you know. They've got some pretty decent aiming intelligence when it comes to, especially sharks in specific can be pretty damn frustrating. Like the whelps. And some of the other spitters. Otherwise, projectiles aren't that big of a deal. Oh my god. See, like, how am I supposed to deal with this? I don't know. I'm not... Oh, shit, it's fucking Buff Buddy. That's why he wasn't taking any damage. Buff Buddy's, for your information. Oh my god, how is this not over yet? Oh, fuck. So, yeah, basically I never go for the chest. I always go for, oh, by the way, that debuff, quote-unquote, is just a buff. It's like we're fighting dragon. The Robo Dragon. I'm just gonna upgrade my stuff here. I think I'm gonna go to try to upgrade my fire damage. I think that would be best. So when you're running, sorry, let's get the first thing I was saying out of the way. Okay, look at this. Look at this damage, by the way. It's just unbelievable. This is what is it? 20 times health, maybe 30 times health. So it's too easy. This boss is a little frustrating though, because he shoots these little projectiles that chase you around, and they're very difficult to see, I gotta admit. Okay, I gotta get myself up here. Oh Jesus. I'm dead. God damn it. That was just a shit play by me. I should have pulled out my laser beam. Anyways, also, sometimes your fucking mushroom just dies, like, instantly, and it's so fucking frustrating. It's kind of hard to counter, He's still dead. Okay, whatever. Nope, wait, he's back. Yeah, the UI is also a little glitchy when it comes to punishment. Sometimes it just shows he's dead, but he's clearly alive. Oh, Jesus. The Porcanar. Oh, wait. Jesus. I keep getting distracted. Yeah, so Demon first half, Unicorn second half, and if neither of them are available, then I always try to go the Crystal chest, because it's just better than the gold chest. And this boss sucks because of his projectiles. They don't look like projectiles, they just seem flames in the air. Like, I mean, look, I can tell that it's a projectile when I look at it like that, but when he shoots them out, I'm like, I have no clue what I'm looking at. Anyways, I get past it, it's not like hard to counter. Just run counterclockwise, clockwise. And you know, you always want to, you want to switch up sometimes if you're not dealing enough damage. Here I'm dealing more than enough damage. But I believe you can bust some of his parts and they don't crit more. As you can see, it's not hard to kill that boss. It's not a very hard thing. The fuck? Alright. Okay, yeah, that's level 75. Yeah, you're welcome. Yep.